What I really appreciate about the Living Rivers program and about the people that are here is the depth of knowledge of everyone that's here, and they're all around the same table.
Living Rivers, Georgia Basin and Vancouver Island is leading the way in helping South Coastal BC communities adapt to increasing demands on water resources.
Water is a common property resource in most cases that everyone depends on. Whether you're running a sewage treatment plant and discharging wastewater into a receiving stream that needs to be assimilated, or you're an industrial user like a pulp mill that takes large volumes of water as part of their production process, or whether you're an angler who likes to fish streams that are still flowing that are capable of supporting healthy fish populations, they're all related, and water is that common link, the common currency as we call it, and we're not going to have the same water supplies going forward with climate change as we currently have, and that's what we're going to have to adapt to.
LRGBVI has been fulfilling a mandate under the Living Rivers Trust Fund to invest in new initiatives that promote community-led water management plans and water conservation projects, which recognize the value of water for important natural resources like wild Pacific salmon.
The vision of our Living Rivers program is healthy watersheds and sustainable fish populations through shared responsibility, stewardship, and wise use of water.
Many of the goals of the program complement the objectives of the Living Water Smart Plan announced by the provincial government in June 2008.
The objectives of the Living Rivers Trust Fund and Living Water Smart are really quite similar. Both programs emphasize protection of aquatic ecosystems, water security for communities, working closely with First Nations and adapting to climate change.
A major thrust of Living Rivers has been the focus on climate change and the threats to salmon and steelhead populations in large watersheds like the Cowichan near Duncan and the Somas in Port Alberni.
Living Rivers is primarily about water for fish. It's a government response to some of the threats from climate change that are coming our way. It intends to increase the quality and the quantity of habitat for stream rearing fish. Well, a lot of the experts are forecasting significant changes for our climate. The prospect of more severe floods and extended droughts have sparked widespread interest from local communities who recognize that environmental and economic health are interdependent and that old ways of doing business will not be sustainable in the future.
With financial and facilitation support from Living Rivers, the community of Port Alberni has launched the Somas Basin Water Management Plan. And on the island's east coast, the Cowichan Basin Water Management Plan was completed in March 2007 and is now moving into the implementation phase.
The goal of the plan is to look at long-term, the next 25 years, supply of water to the Cowichan system generally, and also to look at the demand side. It's being viewed from Victoria as kind of state-of-the-art and probably the template for future water management in the province. And perhaps if one of our recommendations is enacted, we'll have local governance of water management in the Cowichan Valley as part of the implementation of this plan, which would be a first in the province.
Living Rivers has really been key in spearheading is the water management plan, and that, from Catalyst's perspective, we're together with the same kind of groups, fisheries and First Nations. We were in government managing that, but more on a year-by-year basis and often in crisis mode. So Living Rivers was a real spearhead in getting the long-term water management plan, and from our perspective, that's great because for business, certainty is very key. So if we can look at things in more of a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year time frame, that's good for us. So we were really happy to participate and be a funder of that plan because we really wanted to look at it more than just year-by-year crisis management.
So along with key partners, the Living Rivers Georgia Basin Vancouver Island program has begun the process of implementing water storage projects for a number of small lakes and existing reservoirs in the Georgia Basin and Vancouver Island area. These will provide enhanced summer and early fall flows to downstream rearing wild salmon, steelhead, and trout juveniles.
LRGBVI is also working with Metro Vancouver on a major water use plan.
The Metro Vancouver area relies on 3 major watersheds. There's already a water use plan in place for the Coquitlam watershed, and so we're looking at doing one for Seymour and Capilano, and it'll be a process involving all the stakeholders, and we're trying to help facilitate that. But because there is some fairly complex issues dealing with a potential power project and other issues, some of the solutions are going to require some innovative fisheries work that hasn't been really done up here, and so we hope to help with that process.
Recently, the LRGBVI program has been expanded to develop a new approach for increasing the long-term capacity of First Nations for engaging in fisheries and watershed stewardship activities within their own traditional territories.
Living Rivers is a very unique organization. It operates at arm's length from government, so there's a tremendous amount of freedom and flexibility. And their aspirations are to really support projects and processes that benefit water stewardship and the stewardship of fish habitat, and support those things. And they've adopted what I think is a really strategic approach in that they work on a partnership basis. So they want to engage with all the other partners in watersheds to try and realize these goals. And it's quite obvious that a key partner in all watersheds are the First Nations that live there.
Living Rivers, even in its name, suggests a different way of approaching it. No organization can have the kind of talents, skill sets, from fisheries biologists to geologists to hydrologists and all of the professions that come to bear, engineers and so forth. No one organization has the skill sets anymore to tackle these complicated projects. So therefore, Living Rivers has been very much the catalyst to pull the right people at the right time together.
I think Living Rivers is, I think it's got a real collaborative-based approach with the community, industry, business, First Nations. There's a huge partnership there. And it's looking at real projects on the ground and making a difference. It's a lot of action, and the projects I've been involved with have been some of the most exciting projects to be participating in my career, because they've come together quickly without a lot of red tape and all the players around the table, and they just actually happen out there. And sometimes it's a lot of talk and not a lot of action, and Living Rivers is really the opposite of that.